Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. You don't want to miss a episode. So this is day 3 of the Vietnam adventure, and it was our first day of riding. We are staying at a homestay, which is a really cute, like kind of B&B type situation, with these little bungalows up the hill here. We're on the 3rd floor, which is to say we are the 3rd set of bungalows that have been carved into the rock. It was a bit of a hike up the stairs with our gear, but had a chance to crack a beer, a bia, Saigon bia, and relax for a little bit. So let's catch you guys up. Yesterday, pretty chill day. I think I was talking to you guys after I had breakfast. I had some really amazing pho in Saigon, not far from the hotel. And so I went back to the hotel, got, cleaned up, packed up, and headed to the airport. The domestic terminal is pretty busy in Saigon. When I booked the ticket from Saigon to Hanoi, I had upgraded to a business class. They call it Sky Boss. It was like $60 or something, and big reclining seats. And I was like, well, for $60, that's a pretty good deal, probably. And so when I got to the airport, the check-in for coach was like probably an hour deep. I mean, it was a really, really big line, and the Sky Boss line was like 2 people there. So that saved me about an hour. And then I was able to just kind of chill in the lounge for a little bit and catch up on some emails and whatever. So then while we were getting ready to board the flight, I'm standing, way at the back waiting for them to start boarding, and it was a little bit late. And then I think I'm on my phone or something, and this woman comes up to me and just kind of grabs my passport with my boarding pass in it and pulls up my boarding pass and says, come with me. And I'm like, oh shit, like, am I in trouble or something? And so we're walking through the crowd of people towards the front of the gate, and then I'm thinking, oh, maybe we're boarding, and I'm a Sky Boss, so she's pulling me in to board first, and then she tells me to sit down kind of outside the gate area, and then I'm thinking that something's wrong. So I wasn't sure what was going on, but sure enough, yeah, after like 15 minutes of sitting there waiting, she came and got me and boarded on the plane. So I was like the first or second person on, and pretty pleasant flight. They're really pushing the meals hard. I wasn't really hungry because I had a big bowl of pho, but because there was only 2 or 3 of us up front, the stewardesses were like really eager to help out. Just really, really good service. And she must have asked me like 4 times if I was hungry yet. I was like, I'm really not that hungry, but thank you so much. I'll just have a Coke Zero. And she gave me some cashews and raisins, which was a pretty delicious combination, actually. So just chilled out on the flight. And then when we landed, that's when things got a little funny. So when we landed, I packed up my stuff and then kind of walked to the front of the plane. I was in the first row, so I walked just to the boarding door on the left side. And then the stewardess, she said, well, we're not ready. Please have a seat, as in like, just relax for a second. So I go back and sit down, thinking that they got to bring the jet bridge over or whatever. And so after a couple minutes, she comes back and says, okay, it's time, let's go. And so it was a bigger plane. It was like an A340, which is a 2-aisle plane. And so there's 2 boarding doors. There's the front one close to the cockpit, and there's one about 20 rows back. And I guess for whatever reason, we were using the second one. So because I'm a Sky Boss, of course, I get to deplane first, and which means we have to walk through a crowd of like 20 rows of coach passengers to get off the plane. And so I've got my big duffel bag with my helmet and stuff in it, and I'm carrying my book bag with my laptop bag or whatever. And so this stewardess is like, trying to clear a path through the aisleway of all the coach passengers that have stood up with all their luggage and are waiting to deplane. And we've got to plow through like 20 rows of these people. I'm like, okay, just following the Sky Boss program. And so we, she's able to, she's a very small Vietnamese woman and is able to navigate very deftly through the aisle, squeezing past people. And of course I'm not that small, and I had my luggage with me. And so I kind of got stuck behind this guy who was there with his wife and small child. He'd already stood up and he had his bags and whatever. and there's no way I was gonna be able to squeeze past them. So I just stopped and I was trying to wave to her, just like keep going. I'm in no rush. Like I have to wait for my bag anyway. But she wasn't having it at all. And so she came back and like, told the guy he had to sit down to let the sky boss off the plane. And of course I'm like, at this point, it was amusing for a few minutes, but at this point I'm like basically totally embarrassed. And, nobody, like none of the locals on the plane seemed to like really mind. They were like, oh, it's a sky boss, we gotta let him off first. But there were like some Americans or whatever that were on the flight that were just looking at me like, who in the fuck are you? And so anyway, got off the plane, and then for whatever reason they had parked the plane like 20 feet back from the jet bridge. So I don't know why we didn't use the jet bridge, but they had buses lined up to take all the passengers to the terminal from where the plane was. And I was like, well, what was the point of that? Like, clearly we're all getting on the same bus, and I have to stand in the bus waiting for all the other passengers to get on, probably glaring at me for being such a sky boss and getting off the plane first. But sure enough, they had a little minivan there for us, for the three of us that were in first class. And then, so they drove us to the terminal. And of course, I had to wait for my bag with all the other passengers, which was fun. But anyway, I thought that was kind of an amusing little experience on Vietjet Airlines. So landed in Hanoi, and quick ride to the airport, or sort of the hotel, met up with the guys. We took the truck over to pick up the bikes, and got those sorted. So I was able to experience riding in Hanoi traffic for the first time, which was like nothing I've ever done before. I've never even seen traffic like this. In fact, it turns out, I remember reading that like Vietnam is famous for the complete lack of regard for traffic rules of any kind. And I'll tell you that it's interesting. Like, once you get the hang of it, like it kind of works. And by works, I mean like there are tons of intersections that are very busy with no traffic lights, no stop signs. There's no clear right of way whatsoever. But people just kind of understand that you just kind of thread through. So if you want to make a left turn, you don't wait for traffic to stop for the intersection to be clear. You just inch your way out into the intersection until you get to the point where the person coming from your left can't proceed because they'd hit you. So they have to stop. And then this just kind of proceeds until the person making the left turn threads their way through that traffic. And so, so you can imagine that, there's some cars and then thousands and thousands of motorcycles all doing the same thing. And it just takes a minute to kind of catch on to, because, having, ridden in places with very clear right of way, it just takes a minute to figure it out. So I couldn't explain to somebody how it works, but I kind of got the hang of it after a little bit. And when we left this morning, you just got to keep an eye. You just constantly got to be looking, because, at home, if you ride, there's a very small chance that someone's just going to like drive out in front of you. And here that happens all the time. So there's no telling when somebody's just going to do a U-turn in the middle of the road, or pull out in front of you, or just stop or anything. So you just have to really pay attention. And so, yeah, so that's Hanoi traffic. So pretty uneventful ride up here. It was kind of like cloudy and drizzly. As we got out of the city, up into the highlands, it's like a really red clay soil that's everywhere, or like on the road. So like all our stuff was coated in this fine film of like clay mud. But it was a really interesting ride through tons of villages, and we stopped at a few places for coffee, and we stopped at this place for some pho and a little stir fry. It was pretty good. And so we made it to the lake. It's Ba Be, B-A-B-E lake, and that's where we're spending the night. You can't see it now because it's all dark, but it's kind of pretty, surrounded by mountains on all sides, and just relaxing, having a beer. The guys we're riding with, super cool guys. They're all from India. And so there's 4 riders. Barath, the tour leader, Amrith is a buddy of mine, and 2 other guys from Bangalore. They're super nice, and we've had a great time so far. So yeah, just kind of getting into the swing of things. Kind of kicked off the cobwebs today as far as jet lag goes, and getting used to the bike and getting the gear sorted. and I'm gonna eat hopefully some tasty home cooked food here at the bungalows at Babe Lake. So that's it, I think, for day 3 as far as updates go. Anyway, looking forward to tomorrow, and we'll keep you guys posted. All right, talk to you soon. Bye.